So I believe it is now time to react to some fan mock drafts. So once again, man, y'all keep sending those mocks in, whether it's moatswinners@gmail.com or arthurmoats.com. Whichever one you want to send them into, send the mocks in, and we're going to react to them, all right? So first up on the docket, man, we got the homie Demar Brown. Now, Demar, on his list, went with Christian Gonzalez in the first round, 17th overall. Went with Cody Mock, the tackle out of North Dakota State, in the second. And then with the second of the second round picks, the 49th overall, he went with Mike Morris, the pass rusher out of Michigan. Then from there in the third round, DeMarvion Overshawn. Then in the fourth round, Jonah Tave. And then in the sixth, he went with Javarius Owens and then wrapped it up with Marshawn Ford to end this thing.
Initial takes?
Well, my initial takes, when I was thinking about some of these players, I was kind of digging it, man. Let me see why was I digging it? Go to my notes. Oh, here we go. First off, man, obviously I like the Christian Gonzalez pick. I think he's the best all-around corner in this draft, just based off what I've seen thus far. I'm still going to be checking some more tapes on some of the other guys, but to me, man, I like that move a lot. When you talk Cody Mock, good player, good size, on him, plays hard. The biggest question is going to be competition because he was at North Dakota State. We know, I think he performed well at the Senior Bowl, if I remember correctly, with him.
Yeah, he's been getting some buzz in the offseason.
Yeah, but the big thing is just going to be, can it translate versus NFL caliber talent every week? That's always going to be the big question mark whenever you're taking FCS or smaller school guys and having them, make that jump to the next level. Mike Morris, I like his game a lot, man. He's a big body outside linebacker. Gives me Zadarius Smith vibes when I watch him play. He rushes the passer well, but he's not a speed rusher. He's a power rusher, but he is very smooth and he understands what he's trying to do. So I like that. Heavy-handed dude, so I wasn't hating on that one. DeMarvion, not butcher his name, DeMarvion Overshawn, sideline to sideline, rangy guy. When we were talking some of our options at linebacker, if we're not going to spend on some of these other guys, we want something that could come in here, potentially start or potentially push the guys that we have because he's different. I think that this is that guy. When you're talking about in that third round, he's another potential option. We already have talked about some of the other LB guys, but DeMarvion definitely could bring some of that. Definitely like the Jonah Tave pick in the fourth, man. Short dude, squatty, built like a nose tackle, but can rush the passer, man, from the interior. Plays hard, though, man. I like his energy, man. I like his effort. Shorter dude, though, based on what I was looking on tape, but I like his energy, though, man. I think he could definitely be one of those dudes that could provide some productivity. Javarius Owens, man, rangy player, good player, but when I watch him, I think he's a little bit tighter in his hips, but that's also why he's projected to be a little bit later of a pick. So my questions are, him playing in space at the NFL level, is he going to be able to do that on a high-end level, or is he more so going to be a depth guy, teams guy? And then with Marshawn Ford, to me, man, he's like an H-back, bro. Athletic, but he gives me Connor Hayward vibes. He gives me, for my OG Pitt players, you remember Doran Dickerson? Like,
hell yeah.
He gives me that type of vibe. Dude was in Miami with the Dolphins, Charles Clay. He was another dude like that, like 6'1", 6'2", athletic. This dude was, I think, a former receiver, so doesn't give you a ton of blocking, but will route you up, will run a route, will catch it on you. So I like the diversity with this right here, man.
So we're bringing Connor Hayward some competition.
He would definitely be competition for Connor. Yes.
We ain't doing that. Have some respect.
When I looked, I was like, I think Connor is the better all-around player. I think that Marshawn is the better route runner, though. But it also makes sense because Marshawn's a former wide receiver. I think that Connor, he can block better, he can cover special teams better, he can give me some routes. But I just think he's just an all-around better player. Whereas, like I said, with Marshawn, I just think he's more of the better route runner right now. But I definitely like this draft pick, though. Not this draft pick. I definitely like this draft from Demar, though.
I do, too. I'm iffy on this edge pick in round 2.
Mike Morris?
It all depends on what he's thinking in free agency. Okay. I like Christian Gonzalez, Cody Mock. Did you see this dude's picture? Now, Mock might be...
He missed his teeth.
Yeah, no, dude. Well, the transformation's hilarious.
Yeah,
from his freshman year,
innocent looking, to burly burly, hair all over the place, teeth going like a biker on meth. Absolutely. I love
This thing's hilarious.
I want my offensive lineman to look like that. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, man. I love it. I love it.
Looked like he aged like 15 years in his 4 years in college.
Like
4 or 5 years.
I'm like, bro, I want my offensive lineman to look like offensive lineman. That looks like offensive lineman right there, bro.
So he may have been picked a little early, but I like the concept. Okay, we get an offensive lineman. He's a little versatile too.
Mm-hmm.
But what are we doing at receiver here? Like, I feel like you got to draft a guy, even though.
Could you go free agency?
That's what I'm asking him. Who are we bringing in free agency then?
Yeah, because I think that.
I feel like we got to draft someone like. You got at least. I want to say. Yeah. 3rd round and up, but maybe even round 4 and up. You got to bring some extra competition for that wide receiver 3 spot, I think. And we do well, obviously, drafting dudes in the 3rd round. That's my only question. Now, because bringing in an edge guy to put behind a Highsmith and TJ Watt as the 3rd guy, I think that's actually smart. That's something that's not being talked about at all.
And this is a dude that can play the run as well as rush the passer. That's the other part. I did want to say, too, I don't know why they do this on occasion, man. They'll give us that 6 instead of putting 2 7th-rounders up there. Because they definitely have this one. Yeah, I was thinking about that. Whereas, like, when we did it the other day, they had us as our 2 7th-rounders. So, yeah.
I like the Gonzalez pick. I think that's the highlight of this draft for me. Okay. He hits on you talking about, like, hey, let's just, get a linebacker somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah.
I'm guessing with that linebacker pick, he's not thinking about picking anyone up in free agency either.
Well, because think about it this way, man. Both of those dudes.
Which I'm fine with.
DeMarvian, I hope I'm saying his name right.
Yeah.
That's going to push Spillane. That's going to push Mark Robinson. I think it might even beat it out. That's going to be interesting because of what it is. It's very rangy. It's very athletic.
Yeah.
It looks the part.
Upside.
Yeah, we got to see can it translate, but it looks good. Mike Morris, when we talk about Melvin Ingram, Mike Morris, think of a little bit more athletic, younger, healthy version of that. When he was here, heavy-handed, bully ball, that's Mike Morris. When I think of that, I'm like, bro, I would love that as our 3rd guy. He could play both sides too.
Yeah,
absolutely, man. Like, I think that, and that was the thing that kind of,
this might be a smart
that
draft.
kind of intrigued me a little bit more when I saw him. I was like, yo, I like this of not going super early to get it, but you address a need that we definitely have and that we felt. So, and I also think it gives you a little leverage too when you're talking Highsmith. we ain't saying that you moving on from Highsmith, but it's like, hey, Alex, instead of you trying to get 50,
yeah, you don't get that extension done till after the draft.
yeah. It's like, hey man, bring that number down a little bit. Bring it down just a little bit. That's all.
That's a weird balancing act with Highsmith because you draft a dude like this, and you're trying to do this contract extension, and say the negotiations start going bad, then the obvious move is we trade. You want to do that before the draft, though.
Not necessarily.
Unless you're getting a Jalen Ramsey in return.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's not necessarily. I think you address, like, you'll cross that bridge when you get there. You want to see with the Highsmith if you can get the deal done, but you're not trying to get that deal done until August. You're taking time on that. So whenever you do decide that, hey, this deal is not going to work, or how disgruntled is he going to be, because we don't know what this is going to be. Is he a guy that's going to show up for OTAs and minicamp, training camp? We don't know that. This is his first time.
Yeah.
We saw Cam Sutton do it. We saw Mike Hilton do it.
We know Highsmith's a good dude, man.
Yeah. We just don't know. That's the thing, So, I just think it gives you a little bit more flexibility.
What's his number this year? Oh, man. You got to sit out, dude.
It's ridiculous,
This
bro.
is different than even ridiculous. Like TJ's or Deontay's.
Yeah, this is bad.
Actually, maybe not that different from Deontay's. Deontay wasn't that big of a number. Because it's like, what is this? Average salary of $1.1 million?
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, you got to play some hardball here. You have to. For Highsmith's sake.
You got to play. But that's why it's like, if you bring in, the edge rusher, you potentially give yourself some flexibility if you're the Steelers.
What was Deontay? Because it's got to be something. They were both 3rd-round picks. Deontay was, oh, man. Yeah, he was in that range too.
Mm-hmm. Remember, Deontay went there for OTAs. Remember that?
I was a little bit harsher on Deontay with his deal.
A lot of people were, though, because it's like with Deontay, we can look at his bad plays because they're drops. So every bad play that he might have had.
We had other receivers in the room too. That's the other.
We had
thing.
Claypool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like if you sit out, all right, we still got a Claypool. We got a Pickens. We can figure this out. I felt like Deontay had less leverage at the time. Yeah. Well,
yes,
I guess
no, because we didn't look at
depends on what happens with this draft.
Let's say we didn't look at Pickens like that when we were talking about his deal, though. Because Pickens, we had just drafted him, but that was still one of those ones of like, all right, what is he gonna be? We know he was coming off of the injury. We know he didn't play a lot, but he had the nice play in the the championship game. So I don't think we like necessarily looked at that and was like 100%. Yeah, we can move on. I think Claypool was the one though. Claypool was the one that we definitely were trying to like talk ourselves into. But even with him, I don't think we felt like over the top good. It was just we don't want to pay Deontay. We thought we was gonna have to pay him like 20 plus because that was what the market was. And I think that's why we felt like we were more critical of Deontay because we were trying to talk off.
Yeah,
of that number.
it was all those receivers.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Going through the roof.
It
we were
wasn't
like
that we
15 makes perfect sense.
It wasn't that we didn't like Deontay. We just thought outside of Hunter Renfrow, everybody else was getting paid like gross amounts.
I think position matters too.
Yeah.
You're always looking for that primetime edge rusher. Mm-hmm. We already got a TJ Watt, and if you have two, that's special. Whereas receiver, we've seen it so many times.
Especially here for us.
I don't know if it's because we've had Ben that we overlook it a little bit and just like, you know what, man, we just draft another receiver because that's all we've done, really. And obviously we've been able to do that without Ben by getting the Pickens in here. But I think that's part of it too. You know what I mean? And we already had a couple guys on the roster, like a Claypool, and then we drafted a Pickens. And we were just in this whole transition period too, where it's like, man, like we don't even know what's going on at quarterback, and you're trying to get this much money. Is it even worth it? You know? Right. Like, are you that much of a difference maker? Yeah. Where, like, you're going to make the quarterback better. You're going to make this whole offense better. We don't know. We know you're a good receiver, but you're not, like, A-B. Right. So it's that question of, like, if you're not A-B, is it worth it? But we're seeing these receiver contracts go up. Like, wow, that's too much. But at 15, if we're talking some teams, I think that makes sense. Yeah. And then, we finally agreed to a deal. And we didn't know the length of the contract either. Yeah. It was like, man, we don't if it's like 3-4 years, that might be too much. But they hit the sweet spot with 2. Yeah.
Worked out. That deal was perfect for all parties, man.
Like, is anyone questioning if Highsmith gets 4 or 5?
Nah.
Because I think it does have to do so much with the position, too.
I think it's appropriate for Highsmith to get 4 or 5. But I also think his number is going to be higher because of, like you said,
for sure.
Position. Yeah.
For sure.
I like it. All right, so that was Demar Brown. Shout out to him in his mock draft. All right, the next one we're going to go to is from Jesse Southworth. Shout out to Jesse Southworth. All right, so with Jesse, these are the way that Jesse did the picks. Man, went with Devin Witherspoon, 17th overall. Then after that, Osiris Torrance. Then after Osiris, went with Darnell Washington, the Freakazoid. Then DeJuan Jones in the 3rd round. Jonah Tavi making another appearance in the 4th. Clayton Tune. Shout out to the quarterback. And then wrapping it up in the 7th round, Drake Thomas out of North Carolina State. With this one, I like it, but it was different for me. Definitely like the Devin Witherspoon pick. I think he is a really good player. We talked about him in terms of the big 3, Devin Witherspoon, Joey Porter Jr., and Christian Gonzalez. So I definitely like that element of it. Love the Osiris Torrance pickup in the 2nd or at the 32nd overall spot. I mean, you talking about a dude that has the prototypical size, power to play in the run game, people mover, but also can pass block. I like his game a lot. I like him. Then Darnell Washington. This was a little bit overkill, but at the same time, it does go with the theory, though. When we're talking some of the tight ends, I get it because, my man here is like just massive, man. When you watch the size, the athletic ability, the combat catch and all that, not very twitchy, can play high at times, but that's the ones that you're just trying to say, it'd be a mismatch in the passing game. You could develop everything else. But definitely like that one. DeJuan Jones, big body right tackle. My problem is he's a right tackle. Could you move him to left? We know that's a crapshoot at times. He's a right, though. That's my only issue. I like him a lot, though, man, because he's another one of them dudes. I like his technique. I think at times he can get a little bit off balance and his feet get tangled up, and that can cause him to get, set down on occasion. But as a whole, I think that he's one of them dudes that if you were looking for a right tackle specifically, I would like him, especially at this value in that third round. I like that a lot. When you talk Jonah Tavi, we just talked about him. Definitely like that pick in the fourth. Clayton Tune. Now, I know this is another 6th round one. When we're talking late in the draft pick, we'll find out how that works out. But in terms of Clayton, man, I think he was accurate. Good touch on the ball, good arm strength, could run. Not going to say he's, anything crazy elite or nothing like that. But when you're talking about value in the late part of the draft, if you're looking for a quarterback that can stand in there and deliver some throws, I think he's worth the flyer on that. So I don't hate that pick. And then Drake Thomas, this dude has a nose for the ball. Like, he finds the football, man, plays extremely hard. I think he has really good short area quickness as well. I just think for the two things that kind of turn me off about Drake and our defense, I think he's undersized. And when you talk about him being undersized, he's not the crazy athlete either. I think he's a good player, but more so is he just going to be a special teamer for us, which is nothing wrong with that. But that's when I look at Drake, I wonder, is he going to have some struggles in our defense? I think if you put him in a 4-3, he might can survive. It's other guys that are undersized like him, not as athletic, that live in a 4-3 and can make some stuff happen. But when I watch him, he kind of reminds me of the cat in Arizona. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Lord, he was out there with me. He's out there right now. Dennis Garnett. Yeah, that's what he kind of reminds me of when I watch him on tape. But yeah, as a whole, man, I ain't tripping on it. Like I said, it's the one because I'm like, if he was on the other side, I like it even more. I just don't like it as the right. But man, quarterback, you address that issue. We definitely need some depth there, some backup help. I love the pickup in terms of Osiris. Give me some guard action, man.
Yeah, that dude's got backup quarterback face written all over him. He's gonna be a steady backup for like 6 or 7 years in this league.
That'd be a great career, though.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, good for him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not as big of a fan of this one as the last one. I think it's the round 2 and the round 3 one that does it for me. Devin Witherspoon, fine. I guess that's just your preference on corner.
Yeah.
I don't know if Christian Gonzalez or Joey Porter Jr. were available there or not. Osiris Torrance, fine. I don't know if I like picking a guard that high. He's going to be obviously competing with Kevin Dotson.
He ain't going to be competing with Kevin Dotson.
You think he's got it? Then?
I think he would be Kevin Dotson now.
Okay.
And shout out to Kevin Dotson. With all due respect to Kevin, I think that I think the size that he plays, I think he's more athletic, and I think he's just more fundamentally sound. Like, when I watch Dotson at times, like, it gets a little sloppy to me.
Okay.
But that's why if you're taking him specifically, I'm cool with it. If we're gonna start going down from him, I'm with you. I'm like, don't take them dudes that early.
That answers my question.
I think just because to me, he's the best guard. Like, hands down, I think he's the best guard in this draft. I like him the most out of all them dudes.
Okay.
Yeah.
First 2 picks then, good. I think you took Darnell Washington too high. I think you can maybe get him in the 3rd.
That's the one that's intriguing too. You think you can get him in 3rd? Like, for our 3rd?
Oh, yeah, it might
or
be.
Just in it, because
you might go earlier in the 3rd. You're right. But I don't feel like if you're not getting Mayer or maybe that
Kincaid's also.
I don't know if I want to go the whole second tight end approach unless you can get Washington in the 3rd.
If I could get Darnell in the 3rd, Darnell I think has more upside too because of the size he has. He is massive, bro. When you watch him out there, you're like, bro, what is this thing, bro? What is this? Like I said, not very twitchy, but the long speed is there, the combat catchability is there, and he moves really well for his size.
And I'm with you on DeJuan Jones. He's been getting buzzed this offseason, and I think the Steelers were interested in him a little bit. The problem is, you're right tackle. You could maybe talk me into this last year with the uncertainty with Dan Moore at left tackle. Like, oh, can we draft this dude and move Chooks back to left?
Right.
Chooks has said it right, man.
Chooks my right tackle.
He's fine, so I don't think we really got to worry about it.
Yeah. And I don't want my depth. If I'm drafting for a depth tackle,
you're still
I don't want him in round 3.
You're still round 3 right there, where you could get a receiver. That's the other thing that's missing here, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Where's my receiver at? I think we need a receiver. in the top 3 or 4 rounds. Yeah, I would grade this one a little bit worse than the last one.
For sure.
Yeah, if you're saying Torrance isn't competing with Dotson.
To me, Torrance would definitely be an upgrade on the offensive line.
Okay.
Like, I look at him that way.
So he's probably thinking with doing this draft, he's putting Jones over at left tackle. He's competing with Dan Moore.
That
he thinks Jones is going to be our starting left tackle.
That would have to be.
Because there's no other reason really to pick him other than that.
Because, like, when I think of Torrance, I'm like, bro, he's going to upgrade our run game because he moves people. You know what I mean? Like, you watch his tape, man, he's winning grass. But then at the same time, you can watch him pass protect. Athletic, he can handle some of those freaky dudes that's in the insert. Man, he was going up against the cat in Georgia. Jalen Carter. It was a good matchup, man. Now, Jalen still had his fair share of dubs, but it was like, man, to see him handle him at certain times, I'm like, I don't see a lot of tape of Jalen Carter getting handled. But he was able to do some of that stuff because he's fundamentally sound. But now when Jalen was winning, it was because, like, Jalen's just a freak. He's like, that's why he's going to probably be the #1 overall guy.
Yeah.
You know, but it was just good to see how they were matching up because I do think that he's one of those guys that wherever he goes, if he doesn't want to go here, it's another place that I might know that could use it potentially.
Dude, you only have 1 pick per round.
I know, man. I know. I'm just,
I need to remind myself of that sometimes.
That's the problem. You know how I go with draft season. I'm like, I want him too and him. It's like, dang, can I get them both in that round? I can't. You mean to tell me I can't get Bajan and all these other dudes, all the luxury picks as well? I can't get all that? Dang. All right. Fair enough then. Fair enough.
What was the one thing I wanted to say? Yeah, this is kind of off topic a little bit, but dude, how electric is that period of time between the first round and second round going to be for us? Because we are going to have the first pick, and all
round,
those people
bro.
are going to be available. So it's just going to be 24 hours of who's the Steelers.
We're going to
pick.
go from the high of them first 3 rounds to like dead period. Once that 4th hits, bro, we're going to be just waiting. Like, man, the draft's still going on. That's how it's going to feel until we get to the end in the 7th. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that first and second round for us is going to be insane.
Yeah. All right. So, Tom,
last one.
So that was, once again, that was Jesse. So shout out to you, Jesse Southworth. The last mock that we will react to today is from Edwin Vargas. Shout out to you, Edwin Vargas, man. We appreciate you tapping in with us. Now, as we can see for Edwin, he went with Anton Harrison. Big body left tackle. Left tackle from Oklahoma. Then after that, went with your boy Jordan Addison. That'll get Deke perked up. All right. Then from there, Jack Campbell.
Like a damn good draft.
That'll get me perked up as well. Hey, now. Then from there, we go Jalen Jones, the corner out of Texas A&M. Zach Pickens in the 4th. Aubrey Miller Jr., Jackson State. We tapping in. HBCU. Let's get it. And then Caleb Murphy to wrap it up. All righty. When I think of Anton, I like Anton's game, man. Athletic, really good footwork, strong hands. I think he handles speed rushers well. That's one of the things that I always check for with those type of dudes because at the NFL, man, the speed of these pass rushers, it can get you. The one knock that I have on Anton, his bull. Like when it's the bull rush, his anchor isn't always what I would like it to be. Kind of like the reverse when I think of Paris versus him.
Right.
With Paris, I'm like, bro, he handles the bull really well, but it's like the speed gives me concerns. With Anton, I think he handles the speed
he just needs
really
to gain
well.
some weight, maybe.
Yeah, maybe it's that. The technique still looks good though, but it's just sometimes where I'm seeing him pumping his feet trying to anchor, and I'm like, yo, he's just getting put on the quarterback. That's just one of those things, but I still like him. Then after that, when you talk, we already know Jordan Addison. Come on, man.
Get him at 32. This is a no-brainer.
I'm about to say, if you get him at 32, I'm all for. I don't like it at 17. I don't like it at 17. Love it at 32 though. If Addison is there at 32, bro, this dude gonna run you the routes, man. He can play inside. I think he can play outside as well. Short-handed. Checks all those boxes. We feel great. And he has the ties to Kenny, has the ties to Pittsburgh, man. It would be awesome. Jack Campbell, y'all know how we feel about Jack, man. This dude, one of them dudes is going to come down and hit you in your face. Love it. But he can also drop into coverage, man. Zone dropper, man. Reads routes really well. Just plays the game like you're supposed to. Fundamentally sound. You cut his tape on. The first thing you can say, oh, that's a Steelers linebacker right there. That's what Jack looks like. So.
Literally wore black and gold in college.
This is also very accurate.
Had those
man.
block numbers too.
This is also very accurate, man. It
looked like a throwback Steelers linebacker.
All the nostalgia hits, man. He don't even wear his socks pretty. He wear them like just the regular out the pack. Just pull them on up. I was like, oh yeah, he's our type of guy, man. I like him. All right, but then from there, man, you go to Jalen Jones. Man, this is a super physical corner out there. Will hit you, will tackle anything coming over that side of the field, man. I like that a lot. And he's flexible. Can play man and zone. I personally lean more zone for him, but I think that he could play either defense that you're asking him to play in. Very competitive at the catch point, and I think he has good hips. My big question with him, no different than what Cam said. What's your speed? I need to see your top end. He doesn't get left, but he looks like he's running really hard at times.
It's almost like Bryant from last year.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't really much knock to Bryant's game.
Except, could you? Yeah.
And he got like a 4.5 or something in the 40.
Yeah.
And he went in like the 3rd or 4th round, but he played good with Seattle this year.
He did. But that's the difference between a first round guy that you banking on starting and being the guy versus, let me go mid round and put you around some pieces. The speed. I don't know what that is just yet. Zach Pickens, athletic interior D lineman, a ton of positional flexibility. I think he could play nose tackle. I think he could play the 3, and I think he could play the 1 when we go to some of our sub package stuff. Don't necessarily like him out there in terms of like a 5 technique, which is what Cam Hayward, Stephon Tuitt, Chris Wormley and company. I don't necessarily like him there. But if you can keep him over those guards and over the center, I think he could be really productive on the interior. And I think he provides pass rush on the interior, not just a guy that's going to just line up out there. He's hunting. He's trying to get home. I like that. And I think that he's active versus the double team. Remember, we talked about some players, man, they'll get double teamed and they kind of just take the play off. He stays active. He tries to split it. He fights it. The one knock that I did have on him was I think at times he could play a little bit high. And he starts looking versus going through his fundamentals and letting the ball come to where it's supposed to be. That's the only thing that, I kind of have a knock on him for. Aubrey Miller, physical, downhill, will thump you, natural nose for the ball, can blitz. Definitely more of a blitzer than a cover guy. Super productive. The big question, no different than with Cody Mock. Can you do it with the higher end talent? You chasing down running backs, you chasing down quarterbacks, you making play after play after play, and that's dope. It's beautiful. Control what you can control. We just got to wait to see when you get that next opportunity versus some of those bigger boys, what you looking like. But other than that, yeah,
sure.
You cut his tape on. It's hot. He's productive as heck. Caleb Murphy, man. Now, Edwin Vargas, I have a bone to pick with you about this pick right here, man. Caleb Murphy, bro, he ain't played that much, man. I was searching all over, bro. I'm like, yo, it's not a lot of tape out there on him.
Know something about him.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of tape on him, but when I did finally find, because he had 2 starts this year. So I found him. I watched the tape, all right? To me, he reminds me of a J.C. Hassenauer or a B.J. Finney type. Has decent size, decent athlete, good power, but he has to get more buttoned up with his fundamentals. He has to get just more experience as well. Like I said, didn't play a ton. Yeah. But the ones that he did play, like I said, he had some good players out there. Yeah, that was the one for me. It was like, yo, it was hard to find this dude. But other than that, shout out to you, Edwin. Because, yeah, it was like, bruh, it's craziness.
I'm liking this mock draft. I don't know how the hell he got Jordan Addison at 32, but I'll take it. Because I had to spend my 17th overall pick on him in my mock draft. I like the concept of Antoine Harrison. I don't know. Again, it goes back to the cornerback picks in round 1 for the last 2 mocks, like who else was available, but just the thought of, okay, getting a solid left tackle. I understand it. Although I'm thinking, and we've talked about this, if it's not Skoronski in round 1, I don't know if I'm liking it that much.
Fair enough. No,
how much is Harrison? Do you think Harrison is just straight up beating out Dan Moore? It almost goes back to the question I just asked about Torrance.
Yeah, and no, that's a fair question, honestly. That's a very fair question. I think that Antoine, I do feel like he would win in the end, but I do think it's going to be a competition.
I hate that for a first round pick.
And I'm with you 100%. Like the Torrance one, remember we said that was in the 2nd round. So it's like, man, if I'm getting that
and
you're
saying there's no question.
Yeah, I love it in the 2nd. I don't want to do it at 17 per se, but I still feel like I'm guaranteed I'm getting an upgrade right here. Whereas with Anton, you're right. I don't know if that's a guaranteed upgrade over Dan Moore.
Dan Moore going into year three. It's different. Dan Moore coming out his rookie year versus this dude coming out his rookie year.
Dan Moore has had 2 full seasons of NFL guys he's been dealing with.
And he got better as the season went on last year.
We all could agree with that. And it was certain things that Matt Canada was doing to also assist him. And I think that you can still do that and get what you're going to get from Anton personally. But at the same time, I could understand if we went ahead and drafted Anton because I do feel like he has some of the upside that you like. I just don't know if year 1, we're going to feel like, yo, this is definitely the guy. He clearly beat out Dan Moore. I can't say that right now about Anton.
Yeah. Definitely like the Jack Campbell pick a lot. Not getting a cornerback early concerns me, so we're going with
free agency. Or are we rolling with the...
That's what I'm wondering. Well, I was going to say, okay, does this draft involve the Jalen Ramsey trade? But it can't because we still have all of our picks here.
But if we...
Obviously, I'm going to look at this draft a little bit more in the positive light because the Jordan Addison pick.
If you bring back,
I do really like the Jack Campbell pick, though.
But if you're bringing back Cam Sutton, you're bringing back Levi Wallace, you bring in Jalen Jones in the 3rd.
It could work.
You still have a Motlette. You still got your back end.
So are we counting on Jones getting some outside time then? Because I think that's
absolutely.
The case.
Yeah, yes.
Getting Jones some outside time, you're bumping Cam Sutton in the slot a little bit.
It would be the same thing that we came into training camp expecting. Akello, Levi, and Sutton, right? We said it was going to be Akello and Levi on the outside, Sutton bumping to the inside. I think now it just simply says Sutton over here, Wallace over here. When we go sub package ball, you bump Sutton inside and you bring in the young boy.
Is there any chance we're bringing back Jackson or Witherspoon at this point?
It's been kind of quiet on it, but it's still early. They don't have to make a decision right now. That's the thing. Like you got into when the new league year starts, so it's coming up when that second week of March. So that's when we'll start hearing even more. That's what we're getting guys.
February's a short month.
Yeah, that's what we're getting guys getting cut today. Yeah.
Because there was the report that Steelers are going to move on from William Jackson.
Yeah.
It hasn't been official yet. We haven't cut him or done anything. So I do wonder, like, if we got Jackson back on a cheap deal, 3rd-round corner makes a little bit more sense to me. Mm-hmm. I don't know how I feel about just going into the season with just Cam Sutton and Levi Wallace. And not drafting a guy a little bit higher or making the Jalen Ramsey trade. You know what I mean? We can get away with it. I definitely think we can get away with it. I just want the thing we've been lacking for so long.
Yeah.
A bona fide CB1.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
But if I'm drafting Jordan Addison in the 1st round, I don't know if I'm necessarily getting that either. It goes back. You only have so many picks. But didn't I take Cam Smith in I took Cam Smith in the 2nd. Get a guy in like the first 2 rounds then at least.
Yeah.
One of those like top 6 or 7 corners. Because
I
do think there's a tier with those guys, and then it starts to drop off with the cornerback position in terms of depth.
Yeah.
And then you got a depth defensive line guy, linebacker compete with a Mark Robinson potentially. Caleb Murphy, you're saying he's the future J.C. Hasnauer. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Behind a Mason Cool.
And then also, because I did get some of y'all, especially you, Big Noriega, and a couple other people. It's like, man, Aubrey Miller.
What's he doing? Is he trading up for Bryce Young or something?
No. But when I said Aubrey Miller, I want to see him against some competition. Like, he played in the Senior Bowl. Let me answer y'all. Senior Bowl is cool. The Senior Bowl is not the NFL. The players that you see in the Senior Bowl are not the same type of players you're going to see on Sundays across the board. That's what I'm specifically referring to when I say I need to see him against that. I'm not going to see that until he's on the NFL roster, until he's in a training camp or preseason game. You're not going to get that. That's why he's, listed as a 6th or 7th round type guy, because you can't get that type of information until you see him, in those type of games, man. But like I said, his tape is hot. But that's a legitimate concern, man, when you talk about just that talent level, man. Senior Bowl is cool, but the Senior Bowl is not going to give you this like surefire, this is definitely, check them off, man, we're good. That ain't how it work over there, So like I said, I still feel good about them, but that is a legitimate thing, man, that we got to watch and find out. But yeah, I hope it works out for him, man, because like I said, worked out with was James Houston, right? That's what we said. Yeah, James Houston worked out with him. Like you said, and that's great. I hope it keeps working out with them dudes, man. But typically that's not always how it works. That's all.
Which one do you like the best?
Between who?
All these drafts.
Oh, the drafts? Ah.
I think each one's got a hiccup for me.
I kind of lean Demar realistically because I like the Mike Morris pickup. Yeah.
Yeah, the hiccup for me there is I think Mock was maybe taken a little too high.
Fair.
And then it goes back to what we were just talking about. Like, okay, we're using our 32nd pick on a guy that's going to compete with Dan Moore. We don't know if he's going to beat him out. But I like the Gonzalez pick, obviously. Yeah. The Morris pick, I think that's a thinking man's pick right there. Let's get a third guy behind TJ and Highsmith.
And a good player.
No one is discussing that at all, but I think that's a smart play. And then the linebacker from Texas, you're right. I think he could be a high upside guy for us. Yeah. I don't like the Darnell Washington pick and the DeJuan Jones pick of the next draft.
But Darnell gonna give you that big body, like he could run routes.
No, I like the pick. I just think it's too early.
Yeah, too early. Fair enough.
I like the
pick.
Enough. Yeah, I like.
Because I was like, I think he's a dope player. Like I like his game, bro.
Secretly, yeah, he might have a good. If you get rid of that DeJuan Jones pick,
that's the only one I ain't like the DeJuan. I'm like, yeah, we already. I don't want to touch right tackle. I don't even want to like look that direction.
But then for this one, the last one, I don't like taking a corner in the third. And then round one with Harrison. Man, if he went round one Christian Gonzalez and then went like tackle or O lineman in the third, ooh, that would have been the draft. That would have been the draft right there.
I'm with you, man.
What if he would have had years where Skoronsky dropped? He got Skoronsky, Addison.
Oh, it would have been crazy.
Jack Campbell.
Sign him up. Check it. That's the one we want.
And then he could, I guess he could still take Jalen Jones in the third.
That's the one we wanted, man.
That would have been sick.
Absolutely. All right, man.
I don't know which one I like. They're all equal to me. Bro. I don't know which one I like better, to be honest.
It was straight. Like I said, I'm going to lean Demar because of the...
I think I will, too, weirdly enough.
Yeah. But this is a good first batch, though. Like I said, man, we're going to keep doing these things in, man. All right, we're going to keep reacting to y'all mocks, so keep sending them in. But, yeah, man, this is a vibe right here.